Hello Mississauga, I'm Chris Cucoch from Royal LePage Signature Realty, and this is your Mississauga housing report for July 2021. And make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end of the video because I'm going to tell you how to get your very own free, no obligation home evaluation done completely online. Hey guys, welcome back to By the Numbers. I'm your host, Chris Cucoch, and today we're going to talk about everything that you need to know about the Mississauga housing market. Let's jump right in. The first thing I want to highlight is that we finally have some sales numbers that actually make a little bit of sense compared to the 360% up we were in sales in April and the 160% we were up in May. Numbers are starting to look a little bit more normal. The reason for that is twofold. One, if you remember, the pandemic started in mid-March, and it took a couple of weeks for it to really take effect in the market, but the market was pretty close to being closed in April and May. Very few sales, very few homes on the market. Then June came around, things started to loosen up a little bit, and the market started to take off. In fact, we haven't really had a slowdown since June of last year. Over and above that, I think the early spring lockdown situation here in Ontario has caused a lot of people to move their spring plans up to earlier in the spring. Generally, April, May, and June are some of our busiest months in real estate, and we really felt that in April and May, and starting to taper off a little bit coming into June. Okay, let's take a look at those GTA numbers. First off, this number of sales are up about 28.5% over June of last year. We're starting to slow down a little bit, and June is where things started to really take off last year. The average sale price is down just a touch to under 1.1 at $1,089,000. Which is still up 70% from June of last year. And year to date, we've done very close to double the amount of sales that we had done up to this point last year, with a little over 70,000 sales. Be very interesting to see how that catches up as we start to slow down a little bit and the heat from last year starts to catch up in the second half of the year. Now here in Mississauga, we have just about 1 month of inventory and an average sale price in the month of June of $1,019,000. So about 14.5% from last year. The number of sales year to date are consistent with what's going on across the GTA, being up about 95% from last year, and the average home in Mississauga is on the market for only 12 days. Now, in our Mississauga micro markets, all of the asset classes did back off a touch from the high water mark back in May. The detached homes stayed at $1,524,000, which is still up about 24% from June of last year. We're about 28% in the number of sales in detached, and there is about 0.84 months of inventory. And the average detached home in Mississauga is on the market for about 10 days. The average price of a semi-detached home in Mississauga in the month of June stayed high as well at $957,000, which is up about 15% over June of last year. The sales, I think, was a bit of a statistical anomaly here. We had an increase of about 72% up to about 115 semi-detached sales, which almost never happens. I expect that to smooth out over the following months, and the average semi-detached home was on the market for about 11 days. Now let's take a look at those townhouses. The average price of a townhouse was $783,000, which is up about 11.5% from last year. The number of sales was up about 23%. There are 0.9 months of inventory, a little under 1 month, and the average townhouse in Mississauga was on the market for 11 days. And finally, let's take a look at the condo apartments. This is the only segment that's actually experienced some growth over May. Up to about $582,000 average price in the month of June. That's up about 6% from June of last year, and it's up about 12% for the year to date. There are about 1.4 months of inventory, and the average condo apartment is on the market for about 16 days. So where do we go from here? Well, the real estate market tends to have a bit of a cycle to it. Usually the spring is very busy. We do 60 to 70% of the business in the spring, mostly because people want to get moved into their new home before the kids start in school. Summer tends to be a little bit sleepy. Fall, again, is very busy. We do another 20 to 30% of the business in the fall, and then the winter tends to be pretty close to dead. Now, since things picked up in June, you heard me say at the top of the video, that we really haven't had a slowdown since, April and May of last year. Once June came, we took off and we haven't stopped running. I think that we're going to come back into more of that cyclical thing where a lot of the demand has been eaten up. People are tired of the crazy bidding wars. I think we're gonna have a sleepy summer and a pretty busy fall like we normally do, which I think really is a good thing. We can't continue to climb month after month after month like this. So where do I think prices are going? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm pretty confident telling you that the significant $100,000 over asking, crazy bidding wars with 65 people, those are over, at least for the time being. Hopefully for the foreseeable future. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more homes listed around for what they're worth, staying on the market a little bit longer and having a little bit more of a balanced market. I suspect over the next few months we'll see those months of inventory numbers start to creep up a little bit, maybe not all the way to like true balanced market territory, saying over 3 or 3.5, but definitely into the 1.5 to 2.5 months of inventory range across all of the segments of the market, with the possible exception of the condo apartments, only because they're the most affordable one right now and it's the easiest one for first-time home buyers to break into. If you'd like to find out what your home is worth right now today and all of this craziness, just go to chriscucoch.com/home evaluation or click the link in the description. Fill out the form. It's just a couple of questions and we'll get it out to you directly. It's done by a real person, not a Zestimate, and we think it's the most accurate online home evaluation out there right now. I think you're gonna like it a lot, so make sure you check it out today. If you found this video useful, make sure you hit that like button and don't be scared to share it with a friend. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.